eternal. And this is indicative of a continuous process that exists throughout all times of the relationship between Yehuda and Yosef. And one has to wonder, what exactly is this relationship? Now, we all know that each individual is endowed with special gifts, and that each individual is special in the eyes of God. Nonetheless, there is something special about these two protagonists, Judah and Joseph, that make them special throughout Jewish history. And this is the following. Yosef is the man of greatness and charisma. Yosef is the man that people fawn over. Yosef is the man who can get things done because he knows how to put people in the right places, and he charms them into believing that he knows the right thing. Yehuda, on the other hand, is a man for himself, an independent individual. But as an independent individual, he goes through several stages in life, most notably where he learns how to take responsibility for his own actions. Judah was the one most responsible directly for the sale of Joseph. Had he told the brothers, it's not right to sell a brother, they would have listened. And Judah himself was troubled by that action. And for that reason, Judah himself stays away from his family for many years. And in the process, does great things and also some not great things. And yet, Judah owns up and accepts responsibility for the things that he's done. And because he learns this quality of dealing with life and overcoming the struggles of life and having to deal with the various forces that make a person do things in certain ways, and then rising from that and taking the bull by the horns, despite the embarrassment that these things may bring you, Judah learns the quality of responsibility, which we call in Kabbalah, Kabbalat ol Malchut Shemaim, or the sphere of Malchut. And Joseph is the sphere of Yesod, the sphere where the person is perfect, where the person is charismatic, where the person is in charge, and the person does not get overwhelmed and knows how to deal with people. But Yehuda doesn't just know how to deal with people. Yehuda is a person who people want to follow because he is a man of action. He's a man that has taken responsibility. He's a man that's there when you want him to be there. And these two characters, one the charmer, who always gets things done but is above the fray, and the other the person who's able to overcome his struggles and is able to get people to do what is necessary because they can follow his example. These two figures become the pattern for Jewish kingship in the future. Joseph's nephew, Saul, very much like Joseph, he's a charmer. He's tall, he's handsome, very, very modest. But people fawn over him, and he knows how to get things done. But there's a dark side to him, because he really has never, ever been dealing with conflict, with things that are challenging to him. And he doesn't know how to deal with them. Yes, Yosef was able to deal with negative events, but he never had to personally deal with challenges and struggles because God always made him successful. Because he knew how things should be done, and people followed his pattern. He understood things. He figured things out for other people. He knew how to put the system together. He knew how to oversee. He knew how to manage. He knew how to inspire. But he was not a man of the people. He was not a man of struggle. He was not a self-made man. He was a person that was born with great charisma, with great charm, with great gifts. The difference between Yehuda and Yosef are also the differences between the person who is the scholar and the person who is the doer. Now, outwardly, the scholar is greater because we must have study of Torah. The doer also must study Torah, but he may not have that ability, the ability to focus as much. He may not have the ability to have the parnasa, the livelihood that the scholar is able to muster. Somehow or other, the scholar charms and is able to find a way to live his life. But the doer must live an ordinary life. He must struggle with parnasa, with livelihood. He must overcome the challenges of day-to-day life. And in doing that, he must do mitzvahs and kindness, acts of love and compassion, responsibility. And ultimately, we have to discover what is the main ingredient that God desires. And the answer is, God desires the need and the development of the person to overcome his challenges. The challenges of life are crucible. They forge you. They're an iron forge that forge you into a powerful individual. The struggles of life make you into something that you would not have been ordinarily by yourself had you had everything given to you. Yes, there are people who God has given them the ability to overcome their natural instincts. We call them tzaddikim. And they never have to struggle with that yetzer hara, with evil intent, or with having to deal with olam hazeh, with the physical world, because they're not overwhelmed by it. But the Yehudas of the world, they struggle with it on a daily basis. They plod and they grind. And they learn responsibility and they learn to overcome their faults. And as they do so, they grow. And this is why the Mashiach comes from Yehuda, not from Yosef. Because the Mashiach, his purpose is to show the greatness, not just of the struggle, but the transformation of the physical self. Joseph understood the importance of the transforming of the physical. But the transforming of the physical of Joseph was a gift from God. It did not have the additional power of the transformation of the individual. And that was Yehuda. That's why King David, he is the progenitor. He is the ultimate king from whom the Messiah shall come. So much so that the rabbis in the Jerusalemite Talmud tell us that Messiah is King David, for he is the persona of King David. He is the man who overcomes everything, who is not afraid to confront those that are stronger than him, who takes the battle head on, who understands that you cannot sit idly by and let someone insult God or God's people. He's a man who has responsibility for his flocks, for his people, for everyone who comes along. The embodiment of Malchut, that's Judah. In this world, Judah must be secondary to Joseph, because even a person who plods along, who struggles, overcomes, needs the additional perspective of somebody who's a step higher. But ultimately, it turns around because the one who struggles overcomes and transforms, and he becomes the mashpia. He becomes the one who gives the Joseph the impetus to change. As it says, that Mashiach will come and make the righteous into Baal Tshuva. How do you make a righteous person into a Baal Tshuva? He didn't do anything wrong. That's the point. He has to make the person struggle to come to a higher perspective. That's Mashiach. Judah inspires Joseph to transform himself. That is why the ultimate Mashiach is from Judah. And this is the